Can you hear? There you go.
Good.
Hey, you there, buddy?
What's up?
What's up? Aloha, bro.
Aloha.
Hey, how you doing, man? How's everything?
Doing good. Busy day, busy day. How about you?
It's busy. Busy too with the kids and stuff.
Busy day, busy day. How about you? I
Good.
got some echo going on. How about do you have
Oh, there
echo?
is, yeah. Let me try to fix that. There is some echo.
Busy day, busy day. How about you?
Good.
I got some echo going on. How about do you have echo?
There is. Yeah. Let me try to fix that. Let me try fixing it. There is some echo.
I got some echo going on. How about do you have echo?
There, can you hear me?
I can still hear you. Yeah.
All right, maybe that's the echo. Oh, good morning, man. How you doing? All right. We got Lynn Hartnett here. Hi, Lynn. What time is it in your area?
Yeah, it's 2:15, man. 2:15.
Oh, so you're ahead a couple hours, yeah?
Yeah, it took about I don't know 3 weeks to get used to when we moved here, just because of the time
Oh,
difference.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
more so for our daughter. She was thrown off a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I
And you're
know.
from you are you originally from California or?
No, no. Actually, I'm from Guam. So
Oh,
I
Guam. Okay,
yeah, grew up in
nice.
Guam, moved to Hawaii. Been here and then moved to the mainland for a couple of years. And,
Okay.
do that, and then back here again. Um,
Oh,
yeah. So
Hava.
what was that?
Is it? Isn't it? You guys say Hava, right?
Hapa?
Like have a good day. What is that? Isn't it Hava
Uh,
in Guam?
for in Guam, half a day.
Yeah, there you go. I've
Yeah, yeah.
my cousin and his wife and 2 kids live in Guam.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
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 it's a great place to live. But it's tiny though, man. It's so small. But it's
yeah,
it's
for
it's a
sure.
great, like, the beaches are great. There's some
Yeah,
beautiful beaches. All
right.
right, all right, my friend. Um, let's see who else is here. You wanna just start our video, our conversation? You wanna go
Yeah,
ahead
and
and
I.
start?
I'm sorry. What was that?
Yeah, you wanna start and just introduce yourself, um, and then we can go on and ask certain questions, get to know you, as well as get to know us as well. Um, all right, you
Yeah,
go ahead, my friend.
for sure. All right, what's going on, guys? This is the Rad Dad Investor. I started my YouTube channel about I think it was in November of last year, so about 4, 5, 6 months going on right now. I talk about all things finance. I talk about stocks, crypto, high growth quality company stocks. I talk about dividend stocks, real estate, 'cause I do have rental properties, house hacking. I talk about pretty much any and everything that can help make you money the easiest way and hopefully the fastest way as possible. And I've been doing this since I've been in my early 20s, helping out friends individually. So everyone kept telling me I should do YouTube. I should do YouTube, try to help them like a mass amount of people as much as possible instead of just helping one person at a time. Um, so that's really where it started. And it took me a while to get to that point to want to do YouTube because I'm kind of a big introvert. So it's hard for me to get out of my shell. I'm the type of person that would have like 5 or 10 close friends instead of having like 100 friends. You know what I mean? So that was a big hurdle for me to get over, but I took the leap at the end of last year and it's been going well. I mean, it's a struggle to get subscribers. I'm only at like 440 or 450 subs right now. So it's a slow and painful crawl, but I'm enjoying the process for sure.
Yeah, no, great. Yeah, so it is a struggle. I think
For
a lot
sure.
of people think that if I just do YouTube, I'll blow up and all that stuff. But
Hmm.
it's it takes a lot of work. It
Yeah.
takes a lot of work to, like, for us in the in the stock market industry and just the finance. There's a lot of research that goes in there because you always want to give the viewers the information so that they can make a decision on what to buy and how to buy it. And as always, you and I, we're not financial advisors. We're just sharing information so that they can make the best decisions for their families. But
For sure.
yeah, but in terms of just being in YouTube, I think it's great, because it provides you and I a platform to
Mhm.
share our views and what we think and how we look at certain things. And but it is a grind that a lot of people, if they want to go to YouTube, they have to understand that. Yeah.
Guaranteed.
So thank you for sharing, man.
Yeah,
Hello.
absolutely.
If you haven't done it, if you haven't seen me yet, my name is Mr. Dividend Investor. So basically, I just do a lot of videos regarding dividend investing. So I love dividend
Mhm.
investing. Um, so my premise of just being in YouTube was just to share what I've learned about dividend investing and basically try to help people who are in the fence of investing. Because if you look back, when you talk to people, right, they always, when you talk about investing, you talk about the stock market, they start closing the door without even thinking. They always assume that you're always going to lose money,
Mhm.
that it is kind of like gambling. But you know, you have to be smart about it, right? You can basically make a lot of money in the stock market, but you have to do it the right way. You have to do a lot of research, a lot of uh, understanding of what the company is and how you uh, invest on it. Because you see all these things. You got all these meme stocks that I always say the flavor of the month stocks. So I think right now I was watching CNBC, and then they were talking about the cannabis uh,
Mhm.
stocks going up again. So we'll probably talk about that later and get your uh, perspective about it. Yeah.
Sure.
Um, so let's go to some of the questions. So,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, what got you into investing?
Yeah, that's a easy one. I started in banking. It was my first real job. I started in the banking field. So that kind of led me into finances, right? So the very first thing, of course, was a 401k. That was the first time I started investing, and I was just very generally like I've always been curious of, hey, where's my money going? So yeah, I know it's going into a 401k, but what does that mean? What does that look like? So at the time, I sat down with a financial advisor at the bank, and he's like, "Hey, we put you in the 2055 plan. This is exactly where your money is going to work in these type of companies and these type of stocks." So that's really where I started to plant the seed. And as I grew into the finance world, and as I got promoted and moved up in rank, I became more and more like independent, and I started investing, myself. I had my own brokerage. I was my own active financial advisor essentially, and that's when I started at first buying dividend stocks, and then I grew a little bit more confident, and I started digging into individual companies that were at the time what I thought was the future, and that's when I started buying into high quality growth companies as well. And then a little bit farther, I think in 2014 or 15, I started getting into crypto. So that's kind of where how I started investing, and that's how it evolved, and that's where I'm at today.
Nice,
So
nice.
yeah, how about yourself? How did you start investing?
It was pretty similar. So
Okay.
I think back in 2003 when I started my job, you know how you attend these seminars of like, oh, okay, here's some of your benefits, and
Yeah,
one
yeah,
of
yeah.
the financial advisors pull me aside and say, okay, you should start this. So my first investment was a index funds, which was the VTI.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
he explained it to me, but it was like at that point I was not as educated in terms of the stock market. So he just explained to me it was a basket of all the companies.
Hmm.
And then a couple of years after, um, I started thinking and wondering like, there's got to be a better way to make some money.
Right.
There's got to be a better way. You're doing the 9 to 5. It's great to do the 9 to 5, but there's got to be another way, to make some money. So I just started
Yeah.
researching, and then one day I just happened to get the statement from my 401k, and then I started digging deep into it, and then that's when I started educating myself and investing in myself. Just going to reading books, just learning about it and understanding, the index, understanding the charts,
Hmm.
understanding what companies, what companies do,
Yeah.
and what type of companies that we purchase. Because
Sure.
it's amazing now when you're an investor, like all the products that you see in your house. I don't see products. I see the company, like
Right.
the investment, like, oh, hey, that's 3M right there, and that's Apple right here, and that's Johnson and Johnson. It's like I don't see it as like, oh, that's diapers. Oh, that's just tape.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So and then the one thing that got me really interested was when I was watching a YouTuber named Bruce Wang. I don't know if you know him, but
I don't know
yeah,
him.
yeah. So he's awesome. So if you guys want to check him out, just great. He started like doing these YouTube videos where he was showing his portfolio, and I
Okay.
and I was like, wow, So that kind of inspired me to start thinking
Nice.
about opening up the channel, and then with the and I just did it. I think sometimes you just have to just go for it, yeah, and
Right.
just give it a shot, and just I'm all in, just like you are. um
Hmm.
and oh
And
yeah,
how many
Bruce
years
is
have you been
dope.
doing it for?
Huh?
How many years have you been doing it on YouTube for?
um I think I started in 2019.
Okay.
um yeah, and but I didn't get any I wasn't getting the subscribers as I want. um
Okay.
you know uh but what I'm saying, in the end, you know we're doing our message of helping out the masses, and just trying to help out everybody so that we can, everybody wants to make money, right? At the bottom
Yeah.
line, you and I and everybody wants to make money. So this is a great way to do it, um,
For sure.
and to share what you and I learned so that we can, you know, uh, work together and just build that community. Yeah. So, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, Bruce is
And
dope. I like. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, no, no, you're good. So I know your name is, you're all about dividends. So is that primarily like how do you pick a stock? Does it 100% have to be a dividend, or do you reach out and expand past that as well?
I do. I do. Dividend is primarily, like, I would say, like 70 to 80 of my portfolios,
Okay.
because my main goal when I build a portfolio is to build that dividend ladder. They call it a dividend ladder, where you're
Yep.
constantly building, where you're constantly getting dividends pretty much almost every day.
Okay.
And
Nice.
in order to do that, you have to strategically figure out which stocks pay on certain days. So
Yeah.
for me, I love having that because that creates what I call passive income. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, uh, but there's other things that like seriously, like like PayPal is a great one.
Hmm.
It doesn't have
Yeah.
dividends. Amazon's a great one.
Hmm.
So for me, I love dividend investing is my my passion. But
Yep.
you can't really ignore some of these great companies
Yeah.
that you
I
can
agree.
make some money. Yeah. Um, yeah. Piece of pie. Dividend investing is awesome. I agree with you. Um, what about you? Uh, what
Yeah.
other?
So the type of stocks I look for, so I do have dividends. Dividends are only about 10% of my overall portfolio. And those dividend stocks that I truly like, that I love, number one, my biggest dividend is Apple. Not really a big dividend stock itself, but I do own a lot of Apple. EPD is my second dividend stock. That's a true dividend. That bad boy. I think my lowest buy-in is like 12 to 14% dividend on that. Right now, it's right around a 7.5% dividend, and it's right around $25 and change today. And that's been seeing a nice boost because of oil. Past that, my next dividend stocks are Target, Home Depot, and Nvidia. Those are that's my lump sum of dividend stocks right there. But my biggest overall portfolio, like the stocks that have made me the most amount of money, has been Tesla, of course. If anyone got into Tesla, you're making a ton of money. And Tesla, I almost gave up on Tesla. I've been in Tesla for a long, long time. I started at Tesla, I think in 2016 or 17. I started in Tesla, like really invested in Tesla. And it was a slow crawl, and it was you went up high, you dropped even faster. So I almost gave up on them, and thank God I did not, because they've just blown up over the last like 3 years or so. So that by far is my biggest position because it grew so massively and so quickly. But PayPal, like you mentioned, I'm a huge PayPal investor. Like I've owned PayPal since the 80s, and it's not that far away, right? I could, when I say 80s, I could have bought like 2 weeks ago. However, I've had PayPal in the 80s from like 2-3 years ago, I think it was. Rose all the way up to $307 or so. And now it's back down to about $112. So it's been a roller coaster for that stock, but I've been adding like crazy on that dip. Square is another one that I've been adding a lot lately. I love Square for the long term. And then kind of a spec play that I've been adding a lot lately has been SoFi. They just got their banking license, so I do think that they can evolve or potentially get bought out by a bigger bank like a JP Morgan Chase, because they really need to evolve. These brick and mortar banks are good for dividends, right? But they haven't evolved with the clients, with people like you and I. Like the younger generation doesn't necessarily need a brick and mortar anymore. They want someone that they can do all their banking online. They want their lending online. They want to buy they want their banks to have crypto and so forth. So I do see SoFi potentially being a really big company in the future. So that's where I've been deploying my money at lately.
Oh, nice. Yeah, those are great stocks. Yeah, I agree with you. I think a SoFi is gonna be bought up at some point. I think I agree with that one. PayPal is just great.
For
when
sure.
it went down to when it got that dip, I was like, oh, I gotta get some of these.
Right.
Especially now when they're doing when it's that low, like,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see the future of
Yeah.
just using the phones. A lot of people use phones now to pay. Like my wife, when she has to pay somebody, she uses the phone and uses PayPal and Venmo and all that,
Yeah.
stuff. So, okay. So
Yeah.
another question is, what
Yeah.
makes a good stock to buy? Like, what do you look for when you decide, okay, you know what, I want to go buy this stock? What are some of the things that you look at?
So I mean, I look at charts, of course. I look at the trends of the charts. I look at and I'll try to make it really, like, I'll try to dumb it down for if I have someone that's watching this video right now that's just learning about investing today. When I say charts, I'm looking at um there's a resistant line that I need to see. I need to see the stock chart. I guess it's hard to talk about without actually showing it to somebody, but I need to see the resistant line to know that it's a good buying level. I'm never going to be the investor that buys hype stocks. I'll never have okay, I maybe have FOMO, but I'll never buy into FOMO, right? So with that being said, I'm never buying a 52-week high stock ever. I need the stock to come down to me. I need the valuation to be good. The PE needs to be excellent for me for most cases. When I'm talking about PE, like one stock I've been loading up on lately that's not a huge position yet, but it's a decent sized one, is Facebook. I made a video of this about a month or so ago, how Facebook dropped significantly, like 40% after their earnings, to right around the 220s. I told y'all that was a great entry point. However, I'm waiting for the 180s, the 200s to really load the boat, and that's exactly where it went. I think it went down to $182, $183.
Yeah, it's a bargain right
And
now, man.
Bro, the PE on that was like 13 or something like that, which had the same PE as a 3M. Nothing wrong with 3M. It's a great dividend stock, right? But it doesn't have the potential growth that a Facebook might have, right? So when there's a FANG stock, everyone knows what a FANG stock is. Facebook is a FANG stock. It's a future stock, most likely, still. And when the PE is that low, that's like a no-brainer for me. So I always look for the PEs. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be at the buy opportunity for me. However, when it's a company like that, that's a no-brainer for the long term. Um, and I need it to be a company like my primary focus is high quality, high growth company. That doesn't mean I'm going to go out and buy like a lot of ARC companies, right? A lot of companies they invest in. That's not for me. However, I love ARC's vision. I just I don't have the money that ARC has, so I can't risk my money like they can risk it, right? Um, but I need the high quality growth companies long term. And even the dividend stocks that I mentioned earlier, those got smacked around during this drop, and I loaded up the boat on those as well. Home Depot should not have been that low. Nvidia should not have been that low at all. Target is a great company. Like it's just it's an excellent company with a decent dividend that just got smacked around. And since the lows, those guys are up like 20 to 30%. So that's really what I look for. I need stocks to come to me. I'm never reaching for them. And I'm okay saving cash until those stocks are ready to come down to my valuation. So,
No, those are great. Yeah. So, those are great. Yeah. P ratio is great. One thing that I also look at is the debt to
yeah,
equity ratio.
for
So
sure.
that's another one. Um, but for new investors, what I always tell them to do is when you are looking for a company to invest on, you have to look at whether you're a consumer. So I always tell them, look around your house. If you find a product that you use, then start researching about it and start looking at things, because
Yeah.
if you like that product, then invest it. Like for me, I have a lot of Apple products in my
Yep.
household. So why not be an investor in Apple? Because you like the product, you understand the product, and you know about all these things that are stuff. Yeah. So that's that's how I always look at it. And then the other one is just doing a lot of research. You have to always look at the leadership. That's one thing that I always look at, like who is the CEO in there, and what is the vision,
Yep.
where are they going at. you know I always say to myself, is this a product that everybody uses? If it's
Yeah.
a product that everybody uses and you see it uh, down the road that they're going to use it, it's most likely going to be a great stock to invest on. I
Yeah.
agree
Yeah.
with you. You always want to buy what they call, you always buy in the dip.
Yeah.
And I always tell people this one, it's like when you go to a department store and you go and you buy clothes, right? You always want to get that, the discount, the markdown prices, right?
Yeah.
So people understand that concept, that you go to the store, and if you want to clothes, you always want to go to the clearance section, because that's the area they want to go, right? So it's the
Mhm.
same thing as that when you're buying stocks. You always want to wait for that dip.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong, unless there's a change in the fundamentals,
Mhm.
or they're going in a different direction, or something really bad happens. Most of the time it's just one of those things where it goes up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
Another thing I
Yeah.
talk about is like when you buy a house, the market always goes up and always goes down, right? It fluctuates. Just like it's not like when you do an assessment of your house and your value goes down, you're not going to quickly just say, I'm going to sell my house, right? Because it's
Right.
like, you live there. So it's the same thing as like when
Exactly.
you own a stock. So I think a lot of people, when they see their portfolio down, they start panicking. And that's
Yep.
where, the mentality needs to change when they buy stocks. For me,
Yeah.
if I always tell them, if you're I like picking stocks because it's fun. It's fun learning about the companies. It's my main focus is, again, to build that dividend ladder for each
Yep.
portfolio. But if people uh, don't want to do the work and just want to be like, hey, I just want to invest in one index, VTI,
Yeah.
VO is always stuff. And it always shows, right, that these kinds of VTI and VO always beats the market, right? So in terms of individual stocks, but
For
for me,
sure.
like I always like, just picking the stocks that the companies that I like.
Guarantee, yeah.
Um,
And I want to touch base real quick with some things you said too. Well, one thing I look at, like so many people think they make money when they sell the stock. I look at it a complete opposite. You make the money when you buy the stock, right? So if you can buy a great company at a depressed level, you're already making money, right? You're essentially doing a hedge. You're buying a hedge deal on stocks. So you're getting an extreme discount, like you were mentioning. So the best time to buy it is when it's beaten down. That's when you're making money, not when you sell it. Yes, when you sell it, you get that appreciation that you did, but you mentioned emotions as well. If you can take the emotions out of things and use logic, guys, you will literally make a massive amount of money throughout your lifetime. If investors are putting their money to work that they need in the next 1 week to 3 months, that's probably not super smart, because that's when the emotions really kick in and they want to sell the stock so they don't lose any more money, right? But if you put the money in that you don't need for a long period of time, like 6 months to 30 years, then you like take the emotions out of it, like, and buy the dip like crazy. So I just want to kind of elaborate on what you said, because those are great points.
yeah, no, no, it's great. It's always, um, one of the things. Oh, Lynn Hartnett has a question with Amazon. I like Amazon. Amazon is great. I think they're gonna split, right? I think they're gonna do the
Yep,
20, yeah,
24.
soon. Yeah, 20. And I think when that happens, then I'll jump in and get it. Right now, it's just so expensive, you know.
Yeah, so I got some Amazon at 20 and the 28. I think it dropped down to the 26. But I got some at 28 and I like them a lot. And I actually think they could hit $4,000 by the end of the year. So I'm kind of bullish on Amazon. Once they do that split, depending on if it's a good market, like if they split and like the war gets worse in Ukraine and Russia, and oil just keeps going up higher, like I don't know if Amazon will really see the benefit that they should see once they split. But if the market's doing good at the time and they split, I mean, history shows when a stock does that, it ramps up quickly. So I think Amazon could see 4K by the end of the year, because they've been stagnant for years. So that's where I'm sitting at
Yeah,
for Amazon.
no, I agree. I think, and they have been. I think if you go back a couple of years, they've been investing in a lot of great companies. So it's just a matter of time before
For sure.
that thing goes up. Yeah. All right. So next question: what kind of stocks are in your portfolio? I think you kind of talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, I talked. Those are my biggest positions that I've been that are in my portfolio right now. And I have two public portfolios. I have so every month I do a series of stocks I'm buying this month, and that's one of my public portfolios. And that right there, that portfolio is up. I haven't looked yet today at close, but it was up right around 20% month to date, and it was positive for the year in that one. And I'm completely transparent in my public portfolio, so I show everyone what I'm buying and what I'm selling and how they perform every single month I do the video. My other public portfolio is kind of an experiment, and the very first trading day of January, I bought 5 ETFs, and I wanted to use those 5 ETFs as a bench point of like how the market is doing overall. And every week I'm adding $500 into that public portfolio and buying individual stocks. And I want to show everybody how easy it is to beat the overall market. And right now the overall market is down, I think, double digits, right? That public portfolio I think is up 3% for the year, with those ETFs that I bought that are weighing it down significantly. So I'm fully transparent on everything that I buy. Again, the most things I've been buying lately has been PayPal, Square, Facebook, SoFi. I've been buying up a lot. I think those are my biggest positions over like the last like 2 months or so. So that's where I'm sitting at for that. So always looking at
Yeah.
high quality growth companies.
Yeah. Always. Yeah. So for me, I'm pretty much almost the same. So Apple is a great one. I have
Yeah.
a big chunk of my portfolio, and then Coca Cola. I gotta go with the old school Coca Cola. And then I got your VTIs in
Okay.
there,
Yeah.
but the other one that I the my risk stock is the Planet 13.
Okay.
So I have a good amount in my private portfolio of Planet 13 because I think I'm bullish on that. I think cannabis is eventually going to make its run again.
Hmm.
But again, that's, you know, you have to understand the risk, like a couple years ago, it was hot. And then
Yeah.
last couple of years, it went down. And then now it looked like it's starting to go hot again. So, uh, another question is, what are you selling right now? Is there anything that you're selling in your portfolio?
Oh, so I don't typically sell that much. But what I did sell, I sold for the first time in 3 4 years or so. I sold some Neo yesterday because they were reporting after the bell yesterday, and there was options were predicting 11% swing, uh, up or down. Neo has ran so much. I think it's ran like 40% from its lows of just a few weeks ago, and I was buying a ton of it at that time. So I sold some because I didn't want to risk. They had that ramp up. I know that China, currently right now has been in the save mode. The civilians of China have been conservative over the last 6 months or so. And a lot of people think that China is in a recession right now, even though China has not admitted that. So that made me really worried for Neo because that's a luxury car, and when the Chinese consumers are not spending right now, that shows in their data. One of the last things you're going to buy is a luxury car. So that made me a little nervous. So I was selling Neo yesterday, thank God, and I actually bought back in some today. What the exact stuff I sold yesterday, I bought a third of what I sold yesterday today, and I'm gonna dollar cost average if it continually goes down because I think it could continually go down. That stock I started buying in the $3 range in one of my public portfolio accounts. So I'm super stoked about that. So it's been doing really well, but it's
Wow.
been hammered like crazy over this
Yeah,
last year.
yeah. A lot of the Chinese stocks have been hammered lately.
Yeah.
For me, I'm pretty much the same as you. I don't really sell a lot of my stocks. The one things
Okay.
that I did sell was more of just like a swing trade. I
Okay.
buy it and then I make profit and then I sell it. So Zim would be one. BNO is another one that I sold, and then EVGO. So those are
Okay.
the three that I just recently sold in the last couple of days, and it's just more of just making profits of
Okay.
it. Zim is one of those shipping companies that's been on fire. I I rode that thing, and then I sold it, and then one of the good things about it had a special dividend, or I had a dividend of
Oh,
like, yeah. So I waited for that dividend, and then I just cashed
nice.
out today. I think it went down today, so I was like, oh,
Okay.
time to sell. But
That
other than
boy.
that, yeah. And then the one thing that I'm always buying is just like my core of stocks. Like store capital. I bought a bunch of store capital. Uh, I bought 3M. Because it's down. I
Hmm.
bought a bunch of Apple again and Coca Cola.
Okay.
So I always try to do the same thing as you do, is try to buy it as low as I can, close enough to my average cost. I always want, for me, it's like a game. You always want to try to get to the lowest cost, average cost as possible. So I use it as
Right.
like a kind of like a game where I wait. And what I've learned about being in the stock market is just you got to be patient. You cannot, it's going to go down. It's going to go down at
Guaranteed.
some point, right?
Yep.
um, you know, and I always feel that I remember I had a viewer one time, and she said she bought uh, a stock and put in like 10,000 at one time. So I tried to remind her that, hey, you got to nibble. You got to buy here and there.
Yeah.
You can't just buy all of it at one time. You got to nibble here. You got to buy here and stuff, because I always tell people, in the stock market, it is not a quick rich scheme. It's not a get rich. I'm going to invest on it. I'm going to be rich and I'm going to retire. I always tell them it
Hmm.
is like a marathon. You got to
Yes.
pace yourself. You got to continue. You got to have a plan. Um, and that's how I've been been buying and selling. Um,
Hmm.
I know you have kids, and I also have kids. So what are
I,
you? What are you? How are you investing? Well, for your
yeah,
kids.
that's funny. I was going to ask you that. I heard some keikis in the background, so I was going to say, ask you the same question. So yeah, so they're really cool. So what I did is when I found out I was going to be a father, and this was back in 2018, yeah, 2018, my wife told me we were pregnant. So I got super stoked, first of all. The very first thing I did is I opened up a brokerage account for my daughter. Now, if people might not understand how you can do that, what I did is I just opened up a brokerage account in my name and I started investing for her. And then once she was born and we got her social security number, then I opened up a UTMA brokerage account for her and I just transferred everything into her UTMA brokerage account. So that will legally be all of her money when she's 18 to 21, depending on what state we live in. But bro, I started buying Neo in hers in the $3 range. I bought Tesla pre-split in the $45 range, or post-split $45 range. So she's up over 2,000% in Tesla. She's killing it in that. I bought Square on our honeymoon when we were in Kauai um, for like in the $70 range. So that was killing it for a while too. But now it's been humbled back down to like the 120 range. But it's still doing very well. Um, and then lately I bought some SoFi for her as well, for her long term portfolio. So that's exactly, I've been buying individual stocks. Now I know a ton of people either put it into a 529 plan, and that may be something that you do as well. However, I don't know. Like my daughter's 2 right now, right? In 16 years from now, is college going to be a necessity as it is today? I don't know. I'm thinking possibly not, because there's so many people out there that didn't go to college that are super successful in today's age with the work and the work environment has evolved. Like you can do coding and make multiple six figures with no college education, right? Entrepreneurship has been higher now than it has ever been. So I didn't necessarily want to limit her just to college. So that money will be hers too. If I teach her right and the fundamentals of money, she can use it for a down payment of a house, for a wedding, start her own business, or go to college, whatever she wants, right? So hopefully she doesn't waste it on purses and shoes and crap like that. So I might have messed up, but we'll find out in about 16 years.
No, I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome. I'm pretty much the same way.
Okay.
I have, I have 5 kids, so
Oh,
oh yeah, so I basically
busy,
have a
busy.
portfolio. Yeah, that's why you can kind of hear them in the background. So sorry for the viewers, you can kind of hear them, but I basically did the same thing. I have portfolios for each one of them, and then what I do is I try to teach them. I try to teach them about the companies, because what I would like for them to do is understand investing and
Mm,
understand about the finances. And I do have the UTMA, pretty much the same. Um, m- the 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 stocks in those things are, majority is the VTI,
okay.
and then there's a bunch of like Apple, Coca-Cola, and all that stuff. I like those solid old school
Yeah.
companies that have proven time and time again, regardless of what happens in the stock market,
Yeah.
to weather the storm. Yeah. I just want to do a shout out to Independent Investor. Uh, if you haven't seen, or you haven't, if you check out his channel, he's awesome. I love his channel. He does a lot of great videos, so definitely check him out. Um, but yep, going on to the next question. Let's go. Any suggestions for the new investors? So there's a lot of new investors coming in.
Okay.
What would you suggest? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep this one simple. Invest early, invest often, and invest in high quality growth companies like Apple, Amazon, Tesla. If you don't want to invest in individual stocks, I love VTI, VOOSPY. If you want a little spec play, you can play an RK. But just invest early, invest often, and invest as much as possible. Right, like Like me, I've always been the person that chooses to live paycheck to paycheck in a good way though. Like I want to invest as much as I can because I want to pay my future self. That's me giving myself a bonus in the future. And a lot of people, we're really like, as humans, we're really selfish. We want gratification today. But you got to say hell no to so much things today so you can say hell yes to whatever you want to in the future. And that's been my philosophy and it's been working really well. So that's what I would say to the newer investor for sure.
Nice, nice, great suggestions. For me, I think you have to understand what you're investing on.
Mm,
I think, and I know you did a video about not following the herd. A couple of days ago, I think you made a video about like making decisions, and then you talked about the herd, and I agree with you with that. I think that you have to um, uh, understand that sometimes there is the flavor of the month stocks. That's
mm,
what I call it. But you have to have a plan when you're investing. So there's got to be a vision of where you want to be in the next 10, 20 years. And you
yeah.
have to understand, like what we talked about, that the stock market is not a get rich quick. You have to do your
Mhm.
homework, you have to do your research, you have to understand what you're investing in, and you got to invest in yourself. You got to take the time to study it, because if you're going to be lazy and going to be, I don't want to study, I just want to make money, you ain't going to make money.
No,
There,
sir.
you got to put forth the work, right? um yeah, and then um, again, if I always, if you don't want to, just go to VTI VO. That's always been you know, always been a winner in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, okay, next one. Where do you see the market going?
Oh, that's a loaded question. I think we could have just set the floor. I think we could have just seen the lows of the year. Um, and that's a loaded question. So let me say it. I made a video December 27th. Um, go check it out if you haven't. On that time frame, I gave my prediction for 2022. I said the first half of 2022 could be hit as low as 8%. Um, it got hit worse than that. No one knew a Russia Ukraine was going to happen at that time, right? But I think we're sitting relatively close. If you look at your VTI or VOOs, I think they're down right now, right around that 8%. Um, so where are we going to be at? I think the next 6 weeks are key, in my opinion. 6 weeks from now, we have earnings starting again, right? Um, One thing that really spooked me, Adobe reported 2 days ago. Their stock has been really good over the last handful of years, up hundreds of percent. At the peak, it was up over 400%. It dropped double digits after they said the Russia-Ukraine war has impacted their overall revenue. Adobe does not have that big of a footprint in Russia, right? We all know American companies have pulled out of Russia, and most likely they might not go back anytime soon, if ever. So what makes me really nervous for that is if a smaller company like Adobe with a small footprint in Russia got hit by double digits, what are some of the bigger companies going to do that rely on Russia? Like, no one's talking about this yet, right? No one. I'm not hearing any fear of that going on CNBC or any YouTubers out there. So that kind of spooks me. That could be the storm that's coming for us that we don't know about. Also, um, the Fed came out today or this week and talked about, hey, there's nothing holding us back from raising the rates double digits or double 0.5%, right? And could they raise it quarter percent, half percent? Definitely a quarter percent. And he kind of hinted it's going to be a half percent, not just this time, but possibly the next time. So we're looking like by June, the rates could go up a whole percent or more. That could be really spooky. So short term, I think the markets are in a big question mark. However, it seems right now that the stock market does not care. We have inflation at all-time highs, gas prices in the last 5 years high, right? And a war going on that should not be going on, and the market's just rising, right? So I'm not smart enough to figure that question out. All I know is I'm not buying a lot right now because it's risen so much, the stock market. However, when it dips, and it will dip again, that's when I'm buying. So I don't have a psychic. I'm not a psychic. I don't have a crystal ball. Um, I do think the stock market can finish positive for the year, by possibly double digits if this Russia Ukraine war gets figured out relatively quickly, and if gas prices subside below $80 a barrel. That's where I'm sitting at.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's gonna just be sideways, because
Sure.
if you look at history, we've been in the bull market for a couple of years,
Long time.
and I always believe, it's not gonna always go up. At some point, it's gonna come down. It's gonna come
Yeah.
down, and then I think it's gonna swagger. It's gonna fluctuate, but eventually, it always goes up. If you look at the charts, you can see, you know, if you really look at the year. It's going to go up eventually, but then, as an investor, that's when you need to understand what you're investing on, right? Because it's like you have to look at. I always, when I talk to people about investing, I always try to give them the scenario of you building a house. When you build a
Hmm.
house, your foundation needs to be solid. So when
Yep.
you're building your portfolio, your companies have to be solid because those are the ones that's going to ride out whatever is happening in the market. So like great companies like Apple, Johnson and Johnson, those are the solid foundations
Yeah.
that that it's gonna all the stocks are gonna go down, but they're not
Mhm.
gonna go down as much as some of the meme stocks or other stocks that are out there. So that's when your research and your understanding of your investments come into play when times like these, when it's you don't know if it's going to be up tomorrow, it's going to be down tomorrow. um
Yeah.
yeah, so I think
Smart.
eventually I agree with you at the end. I think we're going to ride high, but I think
Mhm.
in the next couple of months, I think the Feds are going to increase the rates, and I think you're going to see it go down a little bit more, and then it's going to
Yeah.
go back up. Um, Another question:
Yeah.
um, what are some of the mistakes you've had when you have been
Oh,
investing?
so many mistakes, man. I'll talk about one of my biggest mistakes is when I first started investing. I got really cocky and arrogant because I was doing really good with trading. Um, really good to the point where I loaded the boat in a certain stock, and and I got demolished. Like it dropped quite a bit. It dropped so when I say load the boat, I took all of my brokerage account, my trading money, and I threw it into that one stock, and it dropped like within a week, literally of when I did that, like 10 or 12%. And I was too chicken to sell, and I should have sold because the TA told me to sell, and it ended up going down like 20%, and I just had to bite the bullet at like 18 to 20% being down. So that was my biggest lesson to learn: is like, don't get too cocky, don't get arrogant, don't think you're smarter than everybody else, because the stock market will humble you eventually. And so that was my biggest lesson I learned. And most recently, like, it's not really a lesson, however, it's a frustration, right? Like I've been telling people for months, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. And I have FOMO right now. I have been buying the dip like crazy, and I wish I bought even more, right? Because I mean, some of the companies I've been in are up 20 to 45% in 2 weeks. Like, it blows my mind because I tell everyone the market drops super quick, but when it bounces even quicker at times. And I'm never going to be the investor that calls the bottom. I'm not that smart, right? So FOMO is real. Even when you're buying the dip, FOMO is real. So that's a frustration for me for sure.
No, those are great. Yeah, no, for me, I think just not researching it.
Mm,
I understand that FOMO as well. I think all of us that invest in the stock market had some sort of FOMO at some point in their investing time, and
yeah,
I invested in the wrong thing. I think it was some speculative stock that I just went. I didn't even know what it was. I just saw it was like everybody was buying it, so I just bought it,
yeah,
ended up losing a couple of money in there. And the other thing is waiting too long, like Amazon.
Mhm.
Like I remember Amazon, you know, I was like, oh, should I get it? Should I get it? And I was like, forget it. I'll wait. And then it just went up to like 3,000 and all that stuff. And,
Yeah.
but, and one of the things that I've learned is not to watch my portfolio every day.
Mhm.
I remember there was a time where I'm constantly watching my portfolio every day, like looking at it,
Right.
then you start thinking, okay, wait, should I sell? It's going down, So it's like I've learned to just be like, you know what, hey, it's down, whatever, you know.
Mhm. And I like to think like we're always in a bull market in my case, right? I That's my mindset is, hey, when we're truly in a bull market, we're making money. When we're in a bear market, we're making money because we're buying at extreme lows. So my opinion is we're always in a bull market. Don't babysit your portfolio. Yeah, you can look at it a few times a week to see if, hey, like I want to sell this stock that's ramped up super high to buy this stock that's just got demolished. That's what I like to do, right? So, my opinion, always a bull market. We should always be making money in the stock market, even when the stock market's dropping. Like our future selves are making a ton of money, right? So, that's what I
Yeah,
look at
no,
it. So,
I totally agree. It's never a loss until you sell, and I believe that once you sell it, then it becomes a loss.
yep.
All right. Crypto has been, yeah, up and down lately. So, any crypto investments that you have?
Yeah. I have I have over 25% of my net worth into crypto. So I've been a big time crypto investor for myself, I should say. I'm not big time. All right. My biggest overall portfolio, or my biggest one, is Ethereum. I have a ton of Ethereum. Um, I'm not buying at these levels. Like, truly, I'll probably start nibbling again if we get in the 26 to $2,800 range. But if it ever drops to 1,800 soon, that's when I really load the boat in Ethereum. My next position is Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin long term for sure. I have Solana, ADA, and then I have some Meta that's been playing out really well. I have Sandbox and Mana. Those are the only cryptos I currently own right now, and that's, I mean, I'm buying. I'm not buying right now because it's ramped up a lot over this last week. But my last video that I made, I told, when I say my last video, I mean my last. So every month I tell everyone the three stocks I'm buying in the month of, and this month was March. The three stocks I told everyone I was buying was Facebook, up double digits, Mara, MARA. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but they rely 100% on mining Bitcoin. That's up 30% this month alone. And then Bitcoin, I told everyone I was buying Bitcoin this month, and that is up at least 20%, if not 30% for the month. So I'm buying crypto. I'm not buying right now because it's ramped up so much this last week, but I'm a big crypto believer. Um, I don't fully understand it like I understand stocks. However, the volume, I like the volume of crypto, the people that I buy, and I like to stake my crypto as well. So I'm a big believer in the future of the high quality crypto. I don't like these like necessarily altcoins too much.
Yeah, yeah. I think the last couple of years, there's been so much crypto coins coming out. For
Yeah.
me, I mostly have Bitcoin and Ethereum. Um,
Okay.
I do have some Shiba uh,
Mhm.
and and Cardano. Those are the
Okay.
ones that I have. But majority of my uh, crypto portfolio is just Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm still learning about crypto, and one of the things that I'm starting to do a lot more research and understanding is the NFTs. You know,
Mm.
so that's something that I think I've been hearing that it's going to be, it's going to be big. A lot of
Mhm.
I've watched things, a lot of celebrities and athletes investing in NFTs.
Yeah.
So, do you have any opinions about NFTs?
I have zero opinion of NFT. I don't know. I have not dabbled or necessarily have cared necessarily to dabble into that yet. I like to see things play out first. I like to see things get play like I want to see him get shaken out. Like, do I think NFTs will be big? Yeah, I just don't. I'm not smart enough to know which ones will be at this time, right? Um, I got into the metaverse with Sand and Mana early because I could understand that, and it's paid off well. However, I've learned my lesson. When I buy things I don't understand, I very rarely get lucky, and I lose money almost all the time. So I stay in my lanes. I'll watch it play out, and then if I can get educated enough and I can see a consistency, that's when I'll get in. I'd rather get in and make a little bit of money instead of get in and lose a lot of money like early. You know what I mean? So
No,
that's where I'm
absolutely,
standing right now.
absolutely. No, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I think investing, you have to understand what you're investing
Yeah,
into.
and
Go ahead.
I read this article, and I don't know if it's true or not, but there is this one guy that made an NFT, and he bought it from himself like $100,000, and then he sold it right away, and he sold it for like $30,000. So the person that bought it thought, hey, I got this NFT that's really sick, 70% off it for $30,000. However, the buyer did not know that the seller was selling it. You know, like the seller made the buyer think that they got a really good deal, but the seller still made $30,000 off this NFT. Where if he didn't buy it for $100,000, to inflate the market and shield bid the market, would that seller have known? Like would it have went even for $1,000? We don't know. So I don't like that there can be that gimmick with some of the NFTs. That makes me really nervous when it comes to something like that. So again, I don't know if it's true or not, but it was an article that was on it was on Bloomberg. So I have to believe it was at least legit. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah, I think it's a, it still is a mystery for me as well. I think that's something that if I'm gonna go invest in it, I agree with you. I'm gonna have to do my research.
mm-hmm.
Question. Lynn Hartnett says, any opinion on mainland real estate investing? You wanna go first, and then I'll go next.
Yeah, so I live on the mainland now. I just moved to Colorado in November. When I lived in Hawaii, Oahu as well, I bought an investment property on the mainland, sight unseen, um, and it's done really well over the last 3 years. It's almost doubled up in 3 years. However, right now, let me tell you this: I bought this house in Colorado for 580 in December on December 10th. We've gotten offers for 650 for this house from realtors. Like they're saying, we'll guarantee give you 650. So this area is doing really well. However, the rates, we bought our house and our mortgage is $2,500 a month in December. Right now we're March, 3.5 months later, 4 months later, right? If we bought the same house with the current rates, we'd be spending almost $500 more a month on our mortgage because the rates that we got in at 3.1 are now at 4.7%. It's absolutely blows my mind. So when it comes to investing right now, I think I'm currently looking for another investment property, but I'm waiting 6 to 12 months from right now because the housing market tends to take at least 6 months to stagnate or drop after the rates start going up. So for mainland investing, I look at the hot spots. Right now, I'm actually looking in Florida because I want an Airbnb and I want a place to vacation. I miss the beach like crazy, and Florida is a lot more practical to go to a few times a year than going to Hawaii a few times a year. And if I own a house in Florida, I could get a nice house for under $500,000. If I go to Hawaii, I'm looking at 1.1 for a house minimal. Um, so yeah, I'm looking for the next 6 to 12 months. I would not buy right now because the rates are jumped up significantly, and the housing market has not reflected that yet. That's my
Yeah,
opinion.
no. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think the real estate investing is you're gonna make money regardless, but it's hot right now. I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the prices are so over so out there. It's overpriced in my opinion.
For sure.
I think, but like I always say, at some point it's gonna go down. Whether or not it's gonna crash like how in 2008,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, but or not. But for me, I'm gonna wait if I'm gonna invest in a house in the mainland. But I think investing in real estate, I think it's always a good idea, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. All right. That's pretty much it, buddy. I really enjoyed our conversation. We should do this again.
Oh, guarantee. I like it. I like doing these collabs, getting to know people and asking, finding out more about each other and their
I
investment
know.
journeys.
I know. So, all right, guys. Thank you. Definitely check out Rad Dad Investor, and also, I'll leave a link in the description. All right, brother. You take care. I'll
All
catch you
right.
later. All
Thanks so
right.
much, my man. All right.
Hey,
Take care.
aloha.
Aloha. Bye bye.